chapter 8, verse 8, right? This Hosea chapter 8, verse 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So the way these nations look at the northern kingdom as if, look, we don't want to be around y'all. We just going to use y'all for y'all resources. That's how the northern kingdom is. They swallowed up amongst these other nations and said, look, we don't want to be around y'all, but we're going to use y'all for y'all resources. That's it. Y'all ain't nothing. We don't want to be around y'all. This is Hosea 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Verse 9. For they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim had hired lovers. So, just like they did with the Assyrians, right? They entered into alliance with them Assyrians, but that's the same way they did with Esau Edom. They didn't enter into an alliance with Esau Edom, but Esau Edom don't care nothing about them. All Esau Edom want is the resources from them, right? That's the northern kingdom, right? Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, right? It represents the northern kingdom when you read this. This Hosea chapter 8, verse 9. For they are gone up to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim had hired lovers. So Ephraim, right, the northern kingdom, and you got military troops over there in Puerto Rico, American military troops over there in Puerto Rico, right? So Ephraim is allied, the northern kingdom is allied with America, okay? Verse 10, yea, though they have hired among the nations, will I gather them, and they shall sorrow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Verse 11, because Ephraim had made many altars to sin. So the northern kingdom is full of idols, right? Altars shall be unto him to sin. So Ephraim, the northern kingdom, they got plenty of idols, man. They all in the idol worship. And the Heavenly Father and His Son see that, right? Verse 12, I have written to him the great things of my law. See? The law was given to the northern kingdom, right? But they were counted as a strange thing. So Ephraim, the northern kingdom, look at the statute, laws, and commandments as a strange thing. So why are they like that? Because they've been caught up with the deception, thinking the so-called white man is God and they the chosen people, right? Verse 13, they sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of my offering and eat it, but the Lord accept them not. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins. They shall return to Egypt. So that's why the Lord looked at the northern kingdom the way He looked at them, because the northern kingdom was sacrificing human flesh. And He said, look, y'all gonna return to bondage. So that's why the northern kingdom is under the rule of these Edomites. That's why. It's all connected. We are all connected. Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, we are all connected, and these scriptures let us know so. Verse 14. Israel had forgotten his maker and built of temples, and Judah had multiplied fenced cities, but I will send a fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the places thereof. So we all got our ass tore up, so to speak, right? But we in this condition, right, as a nation of people, but it's still hope. But to this day, Ephraim is allied with the other nations. And that's why they getting done the way they getting done, because they have forsaken Yahweh Shema Shah. That's why Donald Trump is able to go down in Venezuela and do damage to them like that. That's why you got Venezuela, which is Asher, you got our people sell out to Esau because they allies, right? But they're not telling the average people, but the 1%, the elites amongst them, they allied with Esau. Okay? They allied with Esau. They want to work with Esau, right? That's why they sold out to Esau Edom, right? So Donald Trump can go down there and get them, and the oil tycoon like Chevron and Exxon is the one that really told Donald Trump to do Venezuela the way they doing them, right? Because Exxon and Chevron, one of the financiers, so to speak, of Exxon and Chevron is who is it? BlackRock. And BlackRock is controlled by so-called Jews, right? When you look into the, let me look it up. Let me look it up. I gotta find a way to say it, so I'm gonna. Chevron is financed by who? Yeah, Chevron is financed by Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. What did it say? That was shoot saying something. Chevron is financed by who?
Chevron's financing comes mainly from large institutional investors, including Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, and Berkshire Hathaway, who own significant shares. These major asset managers influence Chevron's financing through their investment strategies.
So those are investors of Chevron, and I know BlackRock is controlled by them so-called Jews. Now, let me say something. Who is the financiers of ExxonMobil?
ExxonMobil's major financiers are primarily its institutional shareholders, including Vanguard Group, BlackRock, and State Street. Other investors include individual investors and companies like JP Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley.
Yeah, JP Morgan, the mix. Now, the mix are certain men's names that use JP Morgan as a platform. Those are financiers. Right? So those people like that is the ones that told Donald Trump to go take Maduro. Okay? The oil tycoon. Right? So-called Jews, man. They told Donald Trump to go down there and take Maduro. Right? But you got our people allied with these Edomites. Right? But the Heavenly Father and His Son, no. But I'm just telling you, that's who told Donald Trump to go get Maduro. Right? And that oil down there America can refine it over there in Texas and Louisiana, and then you got China, they got facilities that can refine it. But the real reason why they went down up in there is to get the oil, because they need it for war. But they was killing the dollar. They was getting away from the dollar, man. Just like example of the president of Libya, and just like who's the president of Libya? Let me see. Who was the president of Libya? Gaddafi. That's who was the president of Libya. Same thing he was doing, right? Who was the president of Iraq? What country was Saddam president of? Yeah, Iraq. Same thing Saddam was doing. Same thing he was doing. That's why they went and got him. Talking about weapons of mass destruction. Oh, they went and got him because he was getting away from the selling that oil and the petrodollar. Same way Gaddafi was doing, same way Maduro was doing. Right? Because you got the Chinese all down up in there, in Venezuela. Right? They were predominantly the ones that was buying Venezuela oil. You look it up. What's the percentage of what was the percentage of China buying oil from Venezuela?
China buys a significant portion of Venezuela's oil, but it only makes up a small, single-digit percentage, around 4 to 5% of China's total oil imports.
So there you go. So China, which I showed y'all that map weeks ago concerning the influence of China. Let me see this. Can China refine Venezuela oil?
Yes, China can refine Venezuelan oil. They have the capacity and infrastructure, including specialized refineries, to process it. Historically, China has been Venezuela's biggest oil buyer, using the oil for its own refineries, and also as part of debt repayments, although recent events create some uncertainty.
See that? See that? See that? You see what's going on? So that's what it is, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. And our people ally with these Edomites and these heathens, these foreign nations, man. Okay? So, I'm jumping. What was I at? I was in Hosea. Did I read verse 13? Yeah, I read verse 13. All right. So I'm jumping, right? Let's go to the Apocrypha, see what I can get out of this. Right? We jump to the Apocrypha, right? All right. And our people, just to mention in there, concerning Hosea, our people was doing that, man. Our people was sacrificing man to the Most High, and the Most High wasn't accepting that, man. Our people was doing that. The Northern Kingdom, man, they were doing that. Where Pacific tribes in there, you know. I want to say it was the, I can't remember who it was, but it was the Northern Kingdom. I can't remember which Pacific tribe that was doing it, but it was the Northern Kingdom that was doing that, right? If I can remember it, I'll put it up in post-production. But I'm jumping, right? This is, we're going to Baruch, right? This is Baruch, chapter 2, verse 28. Well, hold on. Yeah, this is Baruch, chapter 2, verse 28. Now you got to remember, the northern kingdom, right, worshiping all them idols, they look at the laws of the Heavenly Father as strange, right? Like it was said in Hosea, right? The 8th chapter. This is Baruch chapter 2, verse 28. And as thou spakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, verse 29, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number amongst the nations where I will scatter them. Verse 30, for I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves. See? The Heavenly Father said, look, a remnant gonna remember themselves, right? But he knew they wasn't gonna listen, right? Because of their stiff-neckedness. This is verse 30, Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivity they shall remember themselves. Verse 31. And shall know that I am the Lord their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. You know? Verse 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivities and think upon my name. Verse 33. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the ways of their fathers which sinned before the Lord. Verse 34. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. So we're going to grow, right? When he get rid of 2/3 of the nation of Israel, Israel going to be brought back through sex, and we're going to grow in the kingdom, right? Verse 35, and I will make an everlasting covenant, which the law will be in our inward part, with them in their power, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. So them gutter rats that's in our land gonna be blown out of it, right? And we're gonna be put back in their land, right? So that's what it is. So I'm jumping. So let's go to Proverbs, see what we can get out of this. Let's go to Proverbs, right? Man. All right, we're going to Proverbs, right? Oh, boy. Excuse me. Proverbs. This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 17. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. So if you seek Yahweh Shemel Shah, the wisdom of Yahweh Shemel Shah early, right, you're going to find it. You're going to find the wisdom that you need to make it through these hard times that's set to increase on the earth. Okay? This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 17. I love them that love me, and the Lord knows who love me. And those that seek me early shall find me. And you will find the Heavenly Father in His Son, right? And they will give you the wisdom to make it, right? They will open the door to you so you can have understanding and grow and trust in them and make it, okay? Through these hard times that's coming up on the earth, that's gonna get worse, right? Right? So let's jump to Matthew chapter 7. See what we can get out of Matthew. This is Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Verse 8. For everyone that asks receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open. So what Yahweh Shai is saying right there, look, you got to constantly pray and ask and seek Yahweh Shemel Shai. Not one time, not two times, not three times, 5, 10, 6, 12, 13. You got to knock and doors of wisdom will be open to you, right? Concerning the Heavenly Father and His Son, and give you guidance. You got to constantly do it and constantly pray, right? In the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. So this is Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock. Like the Heavenly Father and His Son on the other side of the door, you got to constantly knock. You got to constantly ask for guidance concerning these scriptures, man. You got to constantly do it. You got to constantly do it, right? And it shall be open unto you. Verse 8, everyone that asks receiveth. And you ask for wisdom, right? You ask for wisdom and guidance, and how to please Yahweh Shemel Shai. To help you make it through these hard times, man. You know? For everyone that asketh receive, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be open. The door gonna be open to where you gonna grow in understanding and, you know, get the wisdom to be guided in these times, man. You know, in the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. So we jumping, right? And you gotta believe, and that's the only way you gonna be able to grow in that wisdom and get that guidance. Because if you don't have faith, it's over with. And He know if you got faith, and He only gonna give it to the sincere one. This Hebrews. Let me go to Hebrews and see what we can get out of that. This is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. So you got to have faith when you knock, okay? You got to have faith and trust in His promises that He going to deliver us and put us back in that land and put the laws in our inward part, the everlasting covenant. This is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. For he that cometh to Yahweh Shemel Shai must believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. So you got to constantly knock on the door, man. You got to constantly send up them prayers and ask for Yahweh Shemel Shai's guidance, and levels of wisdom will be open to you to where you will understand what to do. Because this is the book that we need to be guided, you know, while Yahweh Shemel Shai is setting up these prophecies to bring down Esau, Edom, so you can get delivered, man, and make it to the end through the Spirit, right? So let's go to Timothy, right? Because it's real. Let's go to Timothy and see what Timothy say. 2 Timothy, right? It says, so you got to constantly pray and constantly knock to get that wisdom so you can be guided, right? In these last days. Right? So let's see what Timothy say. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This knowing also that in the last days perilous times shall come. That's it. You need that wisdom, man. You better not. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. Right? Let's see what we can get out of this. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, the New International Version. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. That's it, we in them. The New Living Translation. You should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. That's it. Danger. Amplified Bible. But understand this, that in the last days, dangerous times of great stress and trouble will come. Difficult days that will be hard to bear. That's it, man. That's it. You're going to need that guidance to make it. So we fighting against things that beyond the natural order, man. We fighting things that's beyond the natural order of things, man. It ain't natural, man. So we need Yahweh Shemel Shai's help because these times are going to be hard and dangerous. Okay? To make it out following Yahweh Shemel Shai. Right? So this is Matthew's. See what we can get out of this. This is Matthew's chapter 7, going back. Man, it's cold out here, the wind blowing, hands freezing, nose running. Oh boy. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye into the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way. Let me see. Off my spot. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye into the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So it's telling you that a lot of people, right, is going to follow the ways of the world and do what's easy and do what feeds their flesh so they can be comfortable, right? So they're going to follow that broad way. Whatever religion, whatever religion in this world is set up, they're going to go that way. Whatever set up to please their flesh, they're going to go that way, right? That's the broad way that leads to destruction, right? So this is Matthew. They don't want to go through no difficult times, right? They don't want to have no moral correction. They don't want to live their life towards Yahweh Shemel Shai. They want the easy route, right? This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye into the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many that be which go in thereat. So the narrow, the straight gate, only few gonna find that, but the broad, everybody gonna go through that. The mass of the people gonna go through that. Only the elect gonna go through the straight gate and ask questions and search for Yahweh Shemel Shai and stay prayed up and knock until they get that wisdom, until they can grow in the spirit. And Yahweh Shemel Shai knows who's faithful and true and who's sincere. Verse 14. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Not everybody. Okay? Only the elect. So only the elect is going to be sincere, and while this devil is raised up to push forth his lies on the earth, 2/3 of our people are going to be caught up in it, because that's who matter, the nation of Israel. That's why I'm saying 2/3. The nation of Israel is going to be caught up in it, and that's who matter. The rest of the nation don't even matter. They get caught up in it. And 2/3 of our people going to bow and take that chip and be destroyed. So, hey, we got to stay prayed up, man, because we fighting against supernatural spirits beyond the natural order, man. It's beyond the natural order what we're dealing with, you know. And I'm standing out here right now and I didn't stop reading the scriptures. There ain't no wind blowing no more. Look at the fur on it. It's barely blowing. But while I was reading those scriptures, it was cold out here. Now it ain't even cold. The temperature did something. The wind did something. So it's wicked, man. This place is wicked. So with that, Mawafla Babylon, Mawafla Babylon, Mawafla 2/3, Shalom, stay strong, search the scripture, pray for deliverance, survive and outlast the dummies.
They told you the shale revolution made America energy independent. They told you the United States is now the world's largest oil producer and therefore doesn't need to care about the Middle East or Latin America anymore. This is a half-truth. And in geopolitics, a half-truth is a full lie. The United States does produce massive amounts of oil, but it produces light, sweet crude. It's like champagne, bubbly, light, expensive to extract, and not what American refineries were built to process. The problem is this. The massive refineries in Texas and Louisiana, the industrial backbone of American energy, were built 50 years ago. They were designed to process heavy, sour crude, the thick, sludge-like oil that comes from Venezuela and the Middle East. America produces champagne, but its engines run on diesel. For decades, they solved this by importing heavy crude from Saudi Arabia. But that relationship is effectively dead. Saudi Arabia is no longer the gas station of the West. Riyadh is cutting production to keep prices high. They're joining BRICS. They're ignoring calls from Washington. The Saudi prince has made it very clear he's no longer interested in being a vassal state. So the United States faced a mathematical problem. They were running out of the specific type of oil needed to keep their refineries running at capacity. And worse, they had already played their emergency card. Over the last 2 years, the administration drained the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The SPR is meant for war. It's meant for national emergencies. It is not meant to buy votes by artificially lowering gas prices before elections. Yet they opened the taps. They flooded the market with millions of barrels to keep prices down. Now the bill has come due. The SPR is at its lowest level since 1983, 351 million barrels. That's it. Under the Biden administration, 180 million barrels were released in 2022 alone to control prices after the Ukraine conflict started. Those barrels have not been replaced. The International Energy Agency projects a deficit of 1.2 million barrels daily for 2025 if tensions with Iran escalate and Russian sanctions remain in place. So Washington looked at the map. They looked for heavy crude suppliers. Canada is already pumping at maximum capacity. Russia is sanctioned and hostile. Saudi Arabia is uncooperative and pivoting toward Beijing. That left only one option. The massive heavy crude fields of the Orinoco Belt. Venezuela. This is what this is really about. Not oil volume, but oil denomination. Venezuela has the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, roughly 300 billion barrels, but production has collapsed. Under Maduro, output fell from over 3 million barrels per day to less than 1 million. Infrastructure decayed, investments stopped, skilled workers fled. So if Venezuela isn't producing much oil, why does it matter strategically? Because it's not about current production, it's about future control. For 50 years, global oil has been priced in US dollars. This system, called the petrodollar, creates automatic demand for American currency. Every country that needs oil needs dollars to buy it. That demand allows the United States to borrow cheaply, print money without immediate inflation consequences, and finance its debt at lower interest rates than economic fundamentals would otherwise allow. But that system is fracturing. Saudi Arabia refused to renew its exclusive dollar agreement. BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, are increasingly settling energy trades in local currencies or yuan. And Venezuela, according to multiple reports, was preparing to fully integrate its energy sector into China's cross-border interbank payment system and price its oil in a basket of currencies led by the yuan. If that had happened, China could buy Venezuelan oil without holding dollars. If China doesn't need to hold dollars, demand for US currency drops. If demand drops, the dollar's value falls. If the dollar falls, the cost of servicing American debt skyrockets. This is the threat. Not that Venezuela would sell 1 million barrels a day to China, but that Venezuela sitting on 300 billion barrels would prove you can price oil outside the dollar system and survive. That's what Washington couldn't allow. The American dollar is not backed by gold. It hasn't been since 1971. It's not backed by industrial productivity. The manufacturing base has been hollowed out for decades. It's backed by one thing, an agreement made 50 years ago with Saudi Arabia. Oil must be sold in dollars. This is the magic trick. Because every nation on earth needs oil, every nation needs dollars to buy it. This creates permanent artificial demand for US currency. It allows the United States to print trillions of dollars, export the inflation to the rest of the world, and never face the consequences. This system is called the exorbitant privilege. It's the source of American prosperity for half a century. But recently, the magic started to fade. In June 2024, the Saudi-American petrodollar agreement formally expired. Saudi Arabia did not renew it. They now accept Chinese yuan for oil sales to China, their largest customer. In November 2024, the United Arab Emirates processed $128 billion in bilateral trade, with China completely in yuan. Russia sells oil to India in rupees and rubles. Iran sells to China in yuan. The dollar's share of global foreign exchange reserves fell from 71% in 1999 to 58% in 2024. Each percentage point of decline represents approximately $350 billion in reduced demand for U.S. Treasury bonds. Here's what most coverage is missing. Venezuela didn't happen in isolation. It's one move in a continental economic contest that's been building for 2 decades. China-Latin America trade hit $518 billion in 2024. That's not a typo. Over $500 billion, and it's growing at roughly 30% annually. 20 years ago, China accounted for less than 2% of Latin America's exports. Today, China is South America's largest trading partner. Brazil trades more with China than with the United States. So does Peru. So does Chile. Ecuador just signed a free trade agreement with Beijing in 2024. Nicaragua did the same. 22 out of 33 Latin American and Caribbean nations have joined China's Belt and Road Initiative. This isn't just trade statistics. This is infrastructure. China now owns or operates major ports in Peru, Brazil, Panama, and Ecuador. The port of Changsay in Peru, which just opened, is designed to handle exports from 6 South American countries directly to Asia, cutting the United States out of the supply chain entirely. So when you hear about Venezuela, understand the context. The United States is watching its historical sphere of influence shift economically toward Beijing. And that shift isn't abstract. It's ports, railroads, energy contracts, and payment systems. Venezuela currently produces 780,000 barrels daily. Under Chinese technical management and Russian financial support, that production could reach 1.4 million barrels daily within 8